Hey traders, Jason here with Day Trading Fearless. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome. Make sure you guys hit the like button and subscribe. And in this video, I'm actually going to go over a dig deep into what market profile is, how it works, how you should use it, and a few of the settings that may work best for you. Before I go into it, make sure you guys check out my weekly trade zones. These are essentially what they are. They're support and resistance levels above and below the market. Also open gaps and VPOCs for the following week. These are released every weekend and available for the following week that should act as a support or resistance level. I also give a 2-hour course of how to trade the zones, how to draw them yourself so you could do it on any stock, any future, or any cryptocurrency that you want to trade. So make sure you check that out. Links are down below in the description. But with that being said, let's get right back into the video. Okay, so we're going to do a deep dive into learning market profile. You might already know how market profile works, but maybe you'll get a couple tips and tricks from this video. So right now we're looking at a 5-day, 5-minute market profile, right? These are, if we go into the settings, okay, these are actually TPOs, which is time and price, versus just volume profile, where volume is only price, right? How much price is traded at a specific level. So over here, we have, like I said, we have two of them. One is for the past 5 days, right? All of this price action is kind of showing you one price action over on the right-hand side, right? So we have the value area high, the value area low, which are the yellow, and then the point of control. What the value areas are from top to bottom is where 70% of all of this volume from high to low is traded, and that is the value areas are giving you the 70% high and low of all the volume, and then the point of control is where the most volume is traded during this entire time. So because we are looking at a 5-day, 5-minute chart, it's just showing us the last 5 days of price action. Second, we have individual profiles right here, right? For each and every single day, right? So we have high to low, right? This is all the volume profile with the price chart, right? And you could see if there's either excess or no excess, things like that. And I'll get into what excess is, but again, you have your value area high, value area low, your point of control, right? 70% of all this volume for this entire day is traded in between here. So what is excess and we'll call it a P or a B formation, right? So essentially what excess is think of this profile. Here, we'll look right here, right? There's really no excess down below here or up here, right? But if price actually kept going up higher and then reversed real quickly, we would potentially have some excess. Here's a really good example. We'll use this, okay? This would be considered excess. Usually, think of excess as wicks, candles where they make a low, and that is the low, and it reverses from that point, right? So we kind of sold off, sold, hard selling, and then we have wicks, right, with reversal candles, hammers, dojis, shooting stars, things like that, could make excess to the downside or upside, right? So here's a little excess. Think of it as very little time has been spent there with price, right? So we could see if if we look at all of this price right here, look at how much time has been spent. And that's how it creates a bigger profile. Well, excess is just a very quick move to the downside and then a reversal, or vice versa. We see a little bit of excess right here. Right? If we zoom in, here is excess, right? We just a very quick move, spike up, and then reversal, and then we sell off. And that is usually the end of the auction, right? That's all market profile really is where fairest prices to do business via a auction theory, right? People are getting short at the wrong time here. People are getting long at the wrong time up there. So that is probably one of the most important things to know. Now, when you have what are called B formations or P formations, think of it this way, right? You have price that goes something similar to this, right? Excess down below, and then the profile kind of gets very big. And here's a perfect example, right? Here is this part, and then we have this part right here, right? So this is kind of the P formation, and you do have a little bit of excess here. So that auction has been completed. And then down below, we kind of have a B formation, right? The B formation, think of it B for bearish, right? And then you could think for P as pop, we should go higher. But a lot of times, if there's no excess, watch for a move lower. And so here you could see we created a nice sideways action, and then you had kind of probably a B at the moment, and then it sold off real quick. Quick little spike created the excess, and then bounced right back up and towards the point of control to clean this up. So that's how you would look at these profiles. You have what are called high volume nodes, right? This is a high volume node. And then you have what are called low volume nodes. Think right here, right? Think of it as a tree. Okay, so let's say you have a tree and these are the branches, right? You have a very small branch and then big branches, things like that, right? And let's say there's a monkey and he falls down to the tree. Well, usually the big branch is going to catch him and he's going to bounce right back up, right? Well, sometimes they'll either bounce right through, kind of blow right through because it's an old branch or whatever the case is, and then go to a low volume node. Let's say this is a low volume node, right? Or a small branch. And as he falls, that branch is really strong and hard that it stops him from falling, and then he bounces, right? A good example of something like this would be something very similar to this, right? We start to sell off right here. We could see the sell-off. Here's a low volume node. We have the big volume node. It kind of blows through the high volume node, and then it comes right down to the low volume node, and you get the bounce. Now, the way I like to look at it is half the time you'll blow through, the other half it'll stop and bounce, right? Same with the low volume node. Half the time it'll touch it and bounce, the other half you'll go right through that low volume node because going back to our monkey position, the monkey just fully misses the entire low volume node, right? Or the branch, we'll say in this scenario. So with that being said, if we were to try and figure out where price is going, okay, from this chart, well, we could sit here and go, okay, well, we see a low volume node here. We see a high volume node here, which is a branch, right? Another low volume node, a low volume node, kind of a little bit of a high, but here's a real big high volume node, right? So as price goes up, are we going to stop here and reverse? Okay, or are we going to blow right through and probably come up to this higher volume node? Well, this is where we want to look to the left of the chart, right? What is going on with the chart to the left? Well, we could see price kind of is making lower highs, lower lows, right? Well, if all of a sudden we do break out and we break above this high, where do you think the first resistance level would be? Probably right here, right? Because there's really no volume or anything that happened right here was just a quick flush. Well, we know that if there's a flush down, there will usually be a flush right back up, right? For price. So that's why you have the low volume node. So we're either going to come up here. So price would either come up, stop, make a double top right here, right? Which is also at the low volume node and reverse, or it would just blow right through and go to the next resistance level, which would be where it first broke down, right? And that kind of creates the end of the low volume node. And then maybe we just start to bounce around and fill this area up, and price would just come down ping pong like this, right? Or it just keeps going depending if there's a news event, how strong the market is, things like that. So that's how it's really good to kind of look at a chart like this, right? I like the 5-minute intraday time. You could set it to whatever you want, but for me, I like the 5-minute. It gives me a good, clear picture. I like time and price when I look at these. And I'll also look at prior value area high or lows as support or resistance levels, right? Here's a really good example. So we kind of made the low here. We close the day. We open the next day and price sells off and goes right to the value area low and then bounces. Okay. So on the way up, I would definitely be watching this level. Okay. For a potential resistance, because I also see a high volume node here with a low volume node here. Maybe I go, hey, if price gets up here, maybe it goes sideways to clean up this profile, right? Think of it as somebody's playing a video game and they're trying to fill in all this area and make it look like a very clean bell-shaped curve, right? Like a big bell on its side. Well, that's kind of what price is doing, and that's why we see the back and forth. But it's just traders buying and selling and trying to figure out the fairest price to do business where it makes it. Now, I will say tongue-in-cheek, okay, or I'm kind of serious on one side, but I also know it's really not happening, is I kind of believe there's one person who runs the market. And the reason I say that is because it's so hard to be able to make price do so much and stop on the dime and do certain things and make such perfect patterns when you have everybody who's doing something randomly. Right? How does it come out so perfect? And so you got to kind of think who's really running the show. But if you start to think that way, then you could really go, okay, hey, they probably want to clean up this little profile right here, right? And maybe clean up this little low volume node to make it look very clean here instead of so staggered. So what'll happen is price will come here, fill this in, and then this will start to fill in, and then it looks very clean, like on the top side, on the bottom side. So hopefully that helps. And then finally, if you want to change the settings, just come in here, right? Go into the little wheel. And then one way to change the background colors is to change the occupancy from like 25 to 50, right? So you could see it will make them even brighter, right? So maybe you want brighter or you want them not as bright. And this is where you can kind of change the colors if you want. If you want to change the profiles, if you want to change, we'll say the point of control to red, you could do that. and then it'll change it to the red. So I'll leave a link down below in the description of this chart if you use Thinkorswim. And hopefully this was a good lesson for you all on market profile. Please let me know your thoughts if you guys have questions, anything like that. But until next time, we'll talk to you soon. And as always, thank you for watching.